Good evening and welcome. I'm Vincent McCory in for Hashtag It's Friday, August the 2nd. This is Africa 54. This is VOA Africa. The fourth case of Ebola is detected in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo city of Goma, sparking fear in neighboring countries. Zimbabweans mark the one-year anniversary of the post-election army crackdown. And in our entertainment report, we'll introduce you to Ghanaian singer, songwriter, and music producer Reynolds the Gentleman. The fourth death caused by Ebola in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo city of Goma is causing serious concerns among the country's neighbors. The new case is the wife of a man who died of the virus on Wednesday. Their daughter has also tested positive for the dreaded disease, as according to the government. The Ebola epidemic in the eastern part of the DRC is entering its second year after claiming more than 1,800 lives. VOA's Zlaritsa Hoke reports.
Health authorities in the Democratic Republic of the Congo are searching for the people who have been in contact with the 3 Ebola patients who have died in Goma, the capital of the northern Kivu province. The density of the population in an urban setting, the anonymity and high mobility make the search harder.
So yes, we find all the contacts we think we know of, but there are people who hide their illness, who flee, who go to another place, who think that being taken to the Ebola treatment center is like being taken to the death house.
Health officials say the Ebola treatment centers provide patients with a high standard of care and understanding.
They really do their utmost to look after people in a very caring and special way. They keep a survivor in the room at all times with the person who has Ebola so that they know they have someone who really understands what they're going through.
The World Health Organization has stressed the importance of people's cooperation.
Nothing can be done without a committed population, which is why we train people identified by the community to be able to detect suspected cases of Ebola at the community level and also to undertake preventive interventions.
The third reported case of Ebola in Goma, which is close to the border with Rwanda, led to a temporary closure of the border on Thursday.
I'm really praying that they will open this border so that I can go to work in Rwanda where I have a job. I can't understand why they don't just test us instead of closing these borders.
The United Nations has advised against closing the borders because people who need to cross will find another way and more likely spread the virus.
This is actually not helpful at all if a border is closed, in part because there's really good economic links, but also family links on either side of these borders.
The World Health Organization has hundreds of Ebola experts in the region and says it is bolstering measures to prevent and treat Ebola in the neighboring countries, especially Rwanda, Burundi, Uganda, and South Sudan, which are most at risk. Zlaritsa Hoke, VOA News, Washington.
Well, Human Rights Watch is accusing the Kenyan police force of carrying out extrajudicial killings of at least 21 young men and boys in the informal settlement of Nairobi over the past year. Now, in a published report, the human rights group says it has documented the 21 murders, but says there are many more. As Sarah Kimani reports from Nairobi, police have not responded to VOA's request for comment.
Fadicia Wamboro is flipping through pictures of her son, Kevin Kariuki Getau, who was killed by police in February.
It was about 8 in the morning. My youngest son came into the house and asked me, "Mom, you're sitting here and my brother has been killed."
When Wamboro went to the police station, she was told her son was killed for snatching a mobile phone, but she denies her son was a criminal and sees no justification for the way he was killed.
When I later went to the mortuary, I found my son had been killed in a beastly manner. He had 7 bullet wounds.
Wamboro says her efforts to seek justice for her son's killing have been fruitless. At the Mathare Social Justice Center, Kennedy Chungu has documented killings at the informal settlements.
It's between 13 to 27. 13 to 27, that's the age of most of the young guys who are being executed in the informal settlement. The excuse is that they are fighting crime.
In its latest report, Human Rights Watch said Kenyan police have killed at least 21 men and boys in Nairobi's low-income areas since August 2018. Otieno Namwaya is a lead researcher at the organization.
Specific cases that we documented were 21, but we heard of many more. And what we found is that police, in some cases, police would raid houses or barge into houses at night, bring out their victims, force their victims to kneel down and raise their hands, but then police go ahead and shoot them.
The police have not responded to VOA requests for comment, but Human Rights Watch reports they have denied their officers have committed any crimes. However, Namwaya says police have not conducted any investigations.
Kenyan law requires that any killing by the police should be followed by an inquest, especially if the circumstances of the death are questionable. So all these killings we are talking about, there should have been an inquest ongoing by now. But police have not started an inquest.
Back in Mathare, Felicia Wamboro is like many mothers who have lost their sons at the hands of police. Any hope for justice is fading away. Sarah Kimani for VOA News, Nairobi.
A shocking discovery was made in the Libyan town of Coms on Thursday when the bodies of 20 migrants washed ashore after their boat capsized last week. The United Nations Refugee Agency is describing the accident as this year's worst Mediterranean tragedy. The number of recovered bodies from that unfortunate incident now stands at 75, and the search for missing bodies is still ongoing. That's according to a Red Crescent aid worker. The wooden boats carrying hundreds of people, mostly from sub-Saharan Africa, flipped over some 120 kilometers east of Tripoli. The Libyan Coast Guards and local fishermen have rescued 134 migrants. The UN Refugees Agency says up to 150 people are feared dead. Well, a Sudanese Military Council spokesman says that 9 soldiers from its Rapid Support Forces have been dismissed and detained in connection with recent violence in the cities of Omdurman and El Obeid. Lieutenant General Shams El-Din Kabashi added that the governor of North Kordofan State and its Security Council will be held accountable for the killing of 6 people, including 4 children, in the state capital El Obeid on Monday. Hundreds of thousands took to the streets Thursday in response to the killings, and opposition medics say 4 protesters were killed and many were wounded by gunfire in Omdurman. Kabashi spoke at a news conference Friday after a night of negotiations with opposition groups of a constitutional declaration, a document that could pave the way for a transitional government.
The Transition Military Council issued a decision to hold the Committee for Security of the North Kordofan State accountable, including the governor. Also, the Rapid Support Forces have formed a military committee to investigate the head of the Rapid Support Forces in El Obeid for the violations and the infringements that occurred by his forces. Concerning the events that occurred yesterday in Ombada area, we have a lot of information about the causes of what happened. God willing, we will apply the same proceedings through arresting the criminals, and we will announce it to the media.
Well, Sudan has been gripped by months of political turmoil that climaxed when the army ousted longtime leader Omar al-Bashir in April. Now, 1 year ago, Zimbabwean soldiers gunned down demonstrators protesting against the delayed release of election results. A dozen people were killed and many of those who were wounded are still recovering and have not resumed their normal activities. Some of those victims were unable to attend an event Thursday to mark the shooting anniversary. Columbus Mavunga has our report.
One of those who could not attend the event is 30-year-old Loveday Munes, who was wounded in the melee of August 1, 2018. Since then, his life has changed. He struggles to walk and can't work as a high school teacher.
Up to now, I haven't received any help pertaining to my injuries, any medical help from the government.
Doctors said he needs at least $15,000 to go to South Africa or India for an operation to remove the bullet without destroying his nerves. Such advanced surgery is not available in Zimbabwe, he says. Zimbabwe's main opposition party says the government must compensate and cover the medical bills of those wounded like Munes. This was the recommendation of a government-appointed commission, and the opposition says if the government fails to do so, it means Harare is not taking the issue of human rights seriously.
Obviously, the families, they need compensation, they need to be recognized in public, the victims' families. So we need that social dimension to be addressed, their welfare and so on. But most importantly, public commitment by the government to make sure that we end this situation, this cycle where state security, state police, state army are heavily involved in the political discourse of this country.
Zimbabwe's Justice Minister Ziyambe said Thursday, bankruptcy issues are preventing the government from implementing many commitments, including paying the medical bills for victims like Munes. To date, Zimbabwe's government has not held any member of the security forces accountable for the acts of violence against Zimbabweans 1 year ago. Columbus Mavunga for VOA News, Harare.
In northern Nigeria, nearly 2/3 of girls are married before they turn 18. This according to the group Girls Not Brides, a London-based partnership of more than 1,000 organizations working to end child marriage. As part of our Worth of a Girl series, today we hear from Khadija in Nigeria, who was married at 13 and had 3 children in 8 years.
How many years were you married? How many years? Khadija Isaac Muhammad.
My name is Khadija Isiaku Muhammad. I'm from Kano Municipality in Nigeria's Kano State. I was married off at age 13. I'm a member of the Fulani tribe and come from a family of clerics. Even now in my family, a girl cannot be more than 14 without getting married off. Yes, I can say it was an arranged marriage because at the time I could not differentiate between love and hate. I don't know what love is. His family didn't follow our marriage customs, except they provided a dowry and wedding gifts. I had not begun menstruating when I married. I started in my husband's house. I suffered a lot during childbirth because I was young at the time. We have 3 children.
How many years were you married?
8 years.
Now that you are divorced, what are you doing?
First of all, I have to thank my God. After my divorce, I had a lot of success. At first, I wondered how to go back to school, even though everyone in my family opposed it. They wanted me to marry again. Then I sold all my property to pay for my studies. I studied mass communication because I really love journalism.
Well, Khadija's story is from the VOA special report, Worth of a Girl. Now be sure to see more of this project on our website at voanews.com. Now, the daughter of U.S. President Ronald Reagan is asking for forgiveness for her father's racist remarks. In an opinion piece published Thursday in the Washington Post, Patty Davis says she wasn't prepared for the tape of her father using the word monkeys to describe black African delegates to the United Nations who had voted in a way that angered him. It was a telephone call Reagan had with the then President Richard Nixon, who taped the conversation. Davis says, in part, there is no suitable explanation for what my father said in that recorded phone conversation. And we're excited to hear what you think about Africa 54. Join the discussion on Facebook. The address is Africa 54. We also stream our broadcast live on Facebook. Please watch and share our show with your friends. Also, check out our headlines 24/7 on viewafrica.com. Still to come, Ghanaian performer and producer Reynolds the Gentleman.
I am Shaka Sali, host and senior editor of VOA's international call-in talk show, Straight Talk Africa.
Today we'll examine the tobacco industry.
We pretty much touch on anything that you can think of. Politics, health issues, human rights issues, you name it, we talk about it. The issues that we discuss are pertinent to most people on the African continent. A very, very rare and unique opportunity to interact with their leaders.
The lyrics could be French,
English,
Portuguese,
Bantu,
Arabic.
It is the beat.
The African beat that counts.
The beat does all the translations.
It cuts across all languages and gives us the understanding that this is the African beat.
It is so distinct
and adhesive.
It binds us together.
African Beat on the Voice of America. For more information, visit our website at www.voanews.com/AfricanBeat.
I'm Clara Frank, and here's what's trending. The cows in this South African field may not look particularly extraordinary, but there aren't many others attracting local and global investors. The cattle grazing here are listed on a pioneering app, selling shares in each cow. The concept is being dubbed crowd farming. Prices start at around $40 for a share in a young calf. An entire pregnant cow costs more than $1,300. But returns can be as high as 14% after 12 months due to a global rise in demand for beef. The cows are looked after by Livestock Wealth and are insured against illness and death. This project, launched in 2015, now has 10% of investors coming from outside South Africa. Next up, for more than 10 years, Senegalese eco-warrior Moudou Fall has been fighting to change people's habits of throwing plastic waste out into the streets with no concern for its effect on the environment. Covering himself in used plastic bags, he regularly visits schools and teaches children about the importance of rejecting the use of plastic. Senegal is one of the world's biggest ocean polluters, with one estimate putting it at 21 on the list among much richer and more populous countries like the U.S. and India. The government banned single-use plastic bags of less than 30 microns back in 2015, but it's failed to successfully apply the law. The West African nation is now set to crack down on polluters, with plans for a new law, police interventions, and fines of up to $85. And finally, cassette tapes are rewinding time and making a comeback. At this record shop in London's Brick Lane, music buyers can sift through vinyls, CDs, and cassette tapes. This year, some 36,000 cassettes have been sold in Britain, according to the official charts company data. According to music industry trade body the BPI, the sales of cassettes are still relatively small in the overall context of the market, totaling at 0.2% of albums sold this year. The increase in sales coincides with the Sony Walkmans turning 40 this year. And that's what's trending today.
Well, now for the past 10 days, in West Virginia, we have had about 45,000 young scouts coming from about 150 countries to gather in what they call the Jamboree, or worldwide reunion, where they have participated in a number of things, sharing experiences, discussing about a number of issues relating to their countries and personal experiences, but also sharing in intercultural exchanges. Now, let's hear from Edwin Wahita of the Kenya Scouts Association.
My name is Andrew Wachindi. I come from Kenya, East Africa. I work for an organization called AFSI Foundation. We have a youth program in scouting that is in Dadaab refugee camp. It's one of the 2 camps in the refugee in Kenya. So this is what we have come. I have brought one refugee from Southern Sudan to have the experience of the Jamboree. So in a nutshell, this is it. He's very excited to have seen such a big gathering. I think in his life he has never seen such a big gathering. And he's using the Novus. He's able to connect with so many friends and conduct himself or participate in so many activities. But this one boy from Southern Sudan, his name is Kok Matim. He's really representing the rest of the refugees back at home.
Well, for more on the Scout Jamboree, I'm joined by VOA's Eric Manirakiza, who visited the Appalachian Mountains, a place that has become a true global village. Eric, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so first, to make it clear, you didn't just go there as a journalist. Tell us how you ended up there.
Yeah, I went there as a scout because I'm a scout since I was 10 years old. And here in the U.S., I don't have opportunity to continue practicing as a scout. So when I heard about the Jamboree, I have so many friends, many of them, they are leaders. Yeah. So I received a call from them, and I arrived there to see what was happening. Yeah. It was very, very a wonderful moment.
Yeah. Now, what was the theme, or what is the theme this year? And why?
Yeah, the theme every day for Scouts is to try to make the world better than you found it. Mm-hmm. So it's a time to have discussions, how they can improve their leadership, where they are in communities. So now the worldwide scouting movement is trying to transform these individual skills into community workforce to try to change communities back home. So they had to have this kind of conversations and learn from each other.
Now we had a bit about from Henry Waitinda, who brought a young refugee from South Sudan. Tell us a little more about the other Africans you met at this Jamboree.
Yeah, I met so many guys. There is one from Burkina Faso who said, I'm living my dream already. And I asked, what is your dream? I said, I want to live in a better world. And this is the better world I cannot imagine. Yeah, and there is a Senegalese young guy who told me that he has learned now to be more organized, to make his bed, his room, and cooking. Rwandan young guys I have met there, they said, oh, we are camping with Senegalese, Burkinabe, people from Zimbabwe and others, and said, we have learned to cook because they have to cook by their own.
One of the survival skills.
Yeah, and they had to share food, Senegalese food, Rwandan food, and something.
Wonderful experience. Eric, excellent insights. We really appreciate you coming on to share with us.
Thank you.
So that's Eric Manirakiza.
Yeah, good save.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us today. Well, it's time now for our entertainment segment. And joining us now is Music Time in Africa host Heather Maxwell. Hello, Heather, and welcome again to Africa 54.
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Reynolds the Gentleman. He's a songwriter, he's a producer from Ghana, and he recently was in the United States for a little rest and relaxation and creative inspiration, and he came to Washington and joined me with Kwame Ofori on Music Time in Africa. So let's meet him and watch some of his newest single, You and I.
Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Maxwell. This is Music Time in Africa. And now it's time to meet my special guest in the studio right here with me, Reynolds the Gentleman.
Hi, everyone. How you doing?
How are you, Reynolds?
I'm good. You?
So I'm fine. And Kwame is here. You both from Ghana.
Yes.
So that's cool. I've got the Ghanaian dudes on each side of me. All right. So how long have you been doing music?
A little over 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not like new. You're not new to the scene, but you're emerging now.
Well, because I'm a music producer and an artist, so yeah, I've been producing for a long time, and I'm trying to bring my music up.
I see. Well, I like your music.
Thank you.
So we've got this, your newest single is called You and I.
Yeah.
But it's a collaboration.
Yeah, between myself and OBK.
Okay, so who's
budding.
OBK?
He's a budding rapper in Ghana now. Yeah.
And you guys are friends, or you just got together for the collaboration?
No, we've been friends for a while.
First?
Yeah. We are always in the studio together.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So where was the video shot?
2 places. Ebri in Ghana, and then
Your
a
hometown?
hotel. Yeah, that's also in Accra.
Okay.
Yeah. Ibis Styles Hotel.
All right. Well, you're styling. All right, so let's listen to You and I, spelled U-N-I.
Till death, I go carry your throne and roam in your empire like it Caesar's home. Why you say expensive cologne? You're breathtaking. So by so straight from home, I'm blessed. Hey, I dey train, I dey run these cones. Bad habits, I dey try this own. On hard rocks, wanna love a song.
This is beautiful. So, you know, I really like this harmony. The chorus is beautiful. How did you come up with that kind of harmony?
I think that was the first thing we came up with. We did that before we started. I even started playing the keys.
So what inspired you for that part?
So...
Oh my gosh, tell the truth.
So we're trying to write about something about how we're going to be together for a long time. Like, no matter what, we're going to be together. Not myself and OBK, myself and the girl.
Of course. I got that part.
Yeah, so we kept going on singing anything that was coming to the mind. You know, we kept going. But this one came and both of us were like, no, this is the chorus. So we actually recorded the chorus before we started making the beat.
Wow, so the chorus is the foundation of the piece.
This song.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you can feel it. It's beautiful.
Oh,
it's all good, but I really like the chorus.
Thank you so much.
Let's listen to some more.
Every step I take, every move I make, I wanna do me say
So we're also here in the studio with Kwame. And Kwame, you're from Ghana, and I know you probably know Reynolds, at least his music, but how did you first hear his music?
How I heard Reynolds was just by chance, just scrolling through Instagram, and then I pop on a friend playing his music. I go like, no, this guy. This guy. And then since then, I've been hooked to his music.
So is this the first time you guys have actually met?
No, I've been to a couple of his shows in Ghana.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So were you in that video we saw earlier?
No.
All right, so this is Heather Maxwell. I'm with Reynolds the Gentleman and Kwame Ofori. We're listening to Reynolds' song in collaboration with OBK.
Yeah, OBK.
And You and I. And that's our music report for this Friday. Back to you.
And that's our show. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.